So, let's ride. Is that the new Go Hawks? Let's ride. I like it. If it is, Miles Simmons, good afternoon. It's PFTPM. Let's ride.
Hello.
Let's ride.
Let's ride, Mike. Yeah, I guess it's the new Go Hawks. I mean, is he getting on the saddle and riding a Bronco? Is that what that means?
Exactly. Huh? Let's ride. You don't ride a Seahawk. You don't ride a Seahawk. You ride a Bronco.
Yeah, or you drive one if you are, maybe one of those guys like Peyton Hutchinson seems to want to, right? Ford Bronco, a great new car if anybody from Ford is watching.
It's great product placement for the Ford Bronco that they're named the Broncos, but I digress. Russell Wilson introduced today, and you heard it in that clip, what they've been selling for the last 9 days. Russell Wilson was the number one choice. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson was our choice. Come on, man. I mean, I know that they need to create that impression. You don't want anyone thinking that you got your fallback, your plan B. And maybe, just maybe they did decide. I'm not gonna say they're completely and totally lying, although lies have been everywhere this offseason. I just texted the PFT group that I'm going to write something later about how one of the Sunday Splash reports late in the regular season was the Browns plan to move forward with Baker Mayfield as their starting quarterback. And here we are 2 months later, and they're throwing him to the curb. We'll talk on that coming up in the program. But maybe, just maybe, Miles Simmons, maybe the Broncos, with the information that was shared by Nathaniel Hackett, the new head coach, about the temperamental nature of Aaron Rodgers, his indecisiveness on whether or not to keep playing. Maybe they just don't want that. Maybe they don't want somebody who's in the 1 year at a time phase of his career. If you're going to give up all that stuff, you want somebody who's all in. You want somebody who's going to be there for more than 2 or 3 years. Russell Wilson's going to be there more than 2 or 3 years. They're going to give him a contract next year that's going to make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in football. It's going to tie the two sides together for 4 or 5 more into the future. So regardless of relative abilities right now, and I would put Rodgers above Wilson, Wilson's going to be around a lot longer.
That's true, and I like you playing devil's advocate on this, basically against yourself after saying that it's probably not their first choice. And frankly, I don't necessarily believe that Russell Wilson would have been their first choice over Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers gives you a chance to win that's better in this year and next year. And if he were to come to the Denver Broncos, I feel like he would have been more inclined to play a little bit longer. I mean, look, we know that quarterbacks, their ability starts to decline typically around the age that Aaron Rodgers is, unless you're Tom Brady and you somehow made a deal with the devil so that even when you retire, you decide 40 days later that it's not worth it because I'm still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, especially if I play in the NFC. So when I look at it now, it's like, yeah, Russell Wilson makes a lot of sense for the Denver Broncos, and especially with what you said. He's going to be around for a while. They can truly build around him now with the remaining picks that they have. And, I mean, you got to do it like the LA Rams, right? I mean, you have to hit on those lower round picks and make sure that the scouting is right, so that when these guys come in, they can get coached up and they can become productive NFL players. And when you trade all these assets for somebody like Russell Wilson, that's what you're banking on. So we'll see if it works out.
Well, and I mean, you're right. You're giving up 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and multiple players, a guy that was acquired with the first-round pick. So you've got to do that. And you also have to win some ties in free agency like they did with Randy Gregory. And that's an indication. I don't know that you pull that off if you don't have Russell Wilson at quarterback. That's the kind of thing that can help you draw in guys who may have gone elsewhere. Here is Russell Wilson from earlier today, his introductory press conference. The trade became official at 4 p.m. Eastern. Wilson on being eager to follow in the footsteps of great Broncos quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls there in the past, John Elway and Peyton Manning. Here he is.
Yeah, I know John Elway's in the back. I used to watch him when I was a young kid, and my dad used to always show me clips of him making plays. Two-sport athlete. He was the epitome of two-sport athletes. Think about Peyton Manning, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. There's been some greats along the way, and then other players as well that I've gotten to play in my journey too as well, and some guys that are on our team that are some of the best in the game. So it's a true honor to be here and to be a Denver Bronco.
I I think the mention of John Elway is fitting because it was 10 years ago that John Elway, then the general manager of the Denver Broncos, picked Brock Osweiler in round 2 while Russell Wilson was still on the board. And there's no way in hell John Elway was drafting a 5'11" quarterback under any set of circumstances. So, two-sport athlete, good. Aficionado of short quarterbacks, not good. That wasn't Elway. And you think about how it went for Osweiler and how it's gone now for Wilson and what they ultimately give up to get him after they could have had him 10 years ago. Although, who knows if it would have worked out for Russell Wilson, because he would have sat on the bench for multiple years behind Peyton Manning, and he would have had a limited window to show what he can do, and it would have been a much different set of circumstances than what he saw in Seattle. Here is George Peyton on his confidence regarding Russell Wilson being the guy who gets them where they want to go.
You know, once we knew that Russell could be available, he was our number one target. He was our priority for the offseason. We were going to do anything it took to get Russ. It's just unique that you can trade of a quarterback, a franchise quarterback in his prime, and we just felt we had to take that chance. And just watching Russell this year, you know, once we realized he was available, you dig into the tape, you know, he has elite arm strength, elite accuracy. We feel he has the best deep ball in the NFL. And then you watch him off schedule, you know, and his eyes and his instincts and the playmaking ability and, you know, the it factor that all the great quarterbacks Russ has. He's the best in the biggest moments. He's best, you know, in the end of the game to win the game. And then the durability he's had throughout his career is unparalleled. You know, he started the first 165 games, if I'm not mistaken, which I think is sixth most by a quarterback in NFL history. But the thing that really sets Russell apart is he's a winner. And no quarterback in their first 10 years in the league has won as many games as Russ. And here we are, we're bringing him to a team that is talented, that is hungry, that just needs to learn how to win, and we feel like he's going to get us to where we need to go.
Oh, no. George Payton's getting fined. You're not allowed to say a quarterback's a winner. I mean, that got them Tim Tebow 12 years ago, Miles. So do you think Russell Wilson is the guy to get the Broncos where they need to go?
Well, I think he was the best quarterback available on the market. I mean, I certainly think he gives them a better chance to win than Drew Lock does, or any of these quarterbacks that are probably available in, you know, with the early rounds of the draft. I don't anticipate that any of those guys are going to do what Russell Wilson did as a young QB, which is lead the team to the postseason, right? Lead the team to beating the brakes off the Broncos in the second season of his career. Now, obviously, the defense had a lot to do with that, and I'm not trying to disparage anything that Legion of Boom did. But when you have a quarterback who's young like that and, you know, is able to come in and perform as well as he does, like, that's something that you don't see every day. And it's not something that you can bank on from a rookie, all right, or even just a young quarterback. So with the Broncos are where they are right now, and with the market being the way it is, I don't know that there is any better option out there for them than to go and to get somebody like Russell Wilson. Does that make them the best team in the AFC West? I'm not crowning them that. No. I mean, until Kansas City gets knocked off from that perch, I'm not saying anything bad about the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know that the Chargers have made a ton of moves too, and I think that they're good moves, but I'm not crowning them either. And we can't discount the Raiders, right? You know, they did some great things under a horrible set of circumstances last year with Derek Carr as their QB, and now they've got McDaniels as their head coach. So I got to wait and see, but I think for all of the options that were out there, the Broncos did a good job of getting the best one available.
Chris Sims and I were talking about this earlier today, Miles. I'll put it to you. You got $10 in your pocket to wager. Chiefs or the field as the AFC West champion 2022. Which one are you taking?
Chiefs. They have Patrick Mahomes.
Wow. I didn't even hesitate. See, I'm always partial to the field. I'm always partial to the field because so much can happen. And that's what I told Sims. Over time, the traditional standard approach needs to be take the field because so many factors can get in the way. And these teams are getting better, and I was impressed with what the Raiders did, bringing in Chandler Jones at a time when they're trying to retool their roster. They're not messing around. I mean, Chandler Jones and Max Crosby, and you've got bookend pass rushers for everyone but the Chiefs that's high end, although they got Chris Jones on the inside and Frank Clark on the outside. They still need another outside guy, but these teams are putting together the pass rushers and the quarterbacks.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.